Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about relationships. They ain't easy. If you think they are, you're fooling yourself. But if you're willing to work and work hard, you can build something that lasts. So let's get real here because we're talking about how to keep that bond strong. Let's get into it. Commitment. I need you to hear me on this one because without it, nothing else matters. Too many people enter relationships thinking that love alone will carry them through. Let me tell you something. Love is a powerful force, but commitment? Commitment is the foundation that holds everything else up. It's the unshakable promise that you make every single day to be there for that person, no matter what comes your way. When you commit, you're saying, I'm in this for the long haul. You're choosing that person over and over, even when things get tough. And believe me, things will get tough. Life isn't a fairy tale. You're going to have moments where you question everything, where you wonder if you made the right choice, where the weight of the world feels like it's on your shoulders. But this is where commitment shows up. It's the thing that keeps you grounded when everything else is shifting. Commitment is about more than just showing up when things are good. It's about standing tall when things get hard. It's about doing the work every single day. It's about having the courage to stay when walking away seems like the easier option. There will be days when you feel exhausted, when you've given all you can and it doesn't seem like enough. But that's when you dig deeper. You reach down into that well of commitment and you find the strength to keep going. Not just for yourself, but for your partner, for the relationship you're building together. And let me be clear, commitment isn't something you can fake. It's not about going through the motions. It's about being all in, mind, body, and soul. You're not just a passenger in the relationship. You're the driver. You're the one steering the ship. You're the one who decides, day after day, whether this relationship moves forward or stagnates. So you've got to put in the work. You've got to show up and invest time, energy, and effort into building something solid. A commitment that is built on genuine love, mutual respect, and shared goals is something that can withstand the storms of life. End quote. Think about it this way. When you commit to someone, you're not just committing to who they are today. You're committing to who they will become tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now. People change, they evolve. And if you're truly committed, you will be there for that evolution. You'll be there for their successes, but also for their failures. You'll be there when they're at their best, but also when they're at their lowest. And you'll be there when they're at their best, but also when they're at their lowest. And guess what? They'll be there for you too. You both will grow together, but it all starts with the foundation of commitment. Now, I want you to think about this. What does commitment really mean to you? For some, it means making sacrifices. For others, it means being a steady rock when the world feels like it's spinning out of control. For some, it's about sharing your dreams and your deepest fears. Whatever it looks like, commitment is a daily choice. It's an active decision you make, not just in your words, but in your actions. You don't just say you're committed, you show it. You don't just promise, you prove it. You might be asking, what happens when it gets hard? What happens when I feel like I've given everything I have, and it still feels like we're drifting apart? That's when your commitment will be tested the most. But here's the truth. Those difficult moments, they're the moments that define you. They're the moments that show you what you're made of. You're not in a relationship just for the good times. You're not in a relationship just for the good times. You're not in a relationship just for the good times. You're not in a relationship you're in it for the long run. And in those tough times, commitment is the thing that holds it all together. So when I say commitment, I'm talking about something real. I'm talking about showing up, putting in the effort, and doing whatever it takes to make sure the relationship doesn't just survive, but thrives. When you commit, you're not just committing to the person you see in front of you today, but to the person they'll become in the future. And when two people do that for each other, when they both commit to the journey, that's when magic happens. Remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about showing up for your partner, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. That's what commitment looks like. It's not just a word, it's a way of living. So make the choice to commit, because when you do, you're not just building a relationship, you're building a life together. And that's something worth fighting for. We hear it all the time, don't we? Communication is key. It's one of those phrases that gets thrown around, but how many of us truly understand what it means? How many of us actually put in the effort to communicate in a way that builds connection, trust, and understanding in our relationships? Let me tell you, communication isn't just about talking. It's about listening, understanding, and engaging with the person in front of you, heart and soul. When I say communication is key, I'm talking about real, honest communication. Not just the small talk or the surface level conversations. I'm talking about opening up, being vulnerable, and saying the things that matter, the things that aren't easy to say. This is where a lot of relationships go wrong. People think they can skate by with a few words here and there, avoiding the tough conversations. Rational, but listen to me. Avoiding the hard conversations doesn't solve anything. It only creates distance. You've got to be willing to speak your truth even when it's uncomfortable. It's easy to say, "I'm fine," when you're not fine. It's easy to hide your feelings, to bottle them up and hope they just go away. But that's not the way to build a lasting relationship. You need to be open about what's going on in your heart and mind. Don't keep things in because you're afraid of rocking the boat. If you don't communicate, you're leaving your partner in the dark, and that's not fair to either of you. But communication isn't just about speaking. It's also about listening. And I mean really listening. Too often we're so focused on what we want to say that we forget to hear what our partner is saying. Listening isn't just hearing words. It's understanding the emotion behind those words. It's about creating space for your partner to be heard. You've got to listen with empathy. You've got to listen not just to respond, but to understand. When your partner speaks, take the time to really process what they're saying, not just what you want to hear. This is how you create a deeper connection. And here's the thing, communication isn't a one-time deal. It's a continuous process. You can't have one deep conversation and think that's enough. It's not. You've got to check in with each other regularly. You've got to stay in touch with each other's needs, hopes, fears, and dreams. Communication isn't something you do when it's convenient. It's something you do every day, whether it's a simple text to say you're thinking of them or a deep heart-to-heart at the end of the day. Communication is the bridge that keeps you connected. We have resources available today to help you. But there's also something else we need to address when it comes to communication. How you say things matters just as much as what you say. You can have the best intentions, but if you communicate in a way that's harsh, dismissive, or disrespectful, you're not going to get the result you want. The tone, the body language, the way you frame your words, they all matter. If you approach a conversation with anger or frustration, your message will get lost in the emotion. But if you approach it with love, with patience, with the desire to truly understand each other, that's when the magic happens. In any relationship, there are going to be moments of disagreement. You're not going to agree on everything. But how you communicate during those moments will determine whether you grow stronger or drift apart. It's not about winning the argument. It's about finding a resolution together. It's about compromising, understanding, and finding common ground. So when the tough conversations come, don't shut down, don't shut your partner out. Engage. Be willing to hear them, to see their perspective, and work together to find a solution. Now let me be clear. This doesn't mean you'll always agree or that you'll always understand each other perfectly, but it does mean you'll be able to face challenges as a team. Communication gives you the tools to navigate through the rough waters. It helps you stay on the same page, even when life is throwing curveballs your way. When you communicate with honesty, respect, and empathy, you create a relationship where both people feel valued. You build a relationship where no one feels ignored, where both voices are heard, and where both partners are willing to put in the effort to understand each other. That's how you grow together. That's how you build a partnership that lasts. End of note. Recording by Daniel Fisher in Baltimore, South Carolina, Friday, the 20th of April, 2023. So remember, communication isn't just about talking, it's about connecting. It's about building a space where both you and your partner can speak freely, listen deeply, and grow together. It's one of the most powerful tools you have to keep your relationship strong. Respect and trust are the bedrock of any relationship. Without these two pillars, no partnership can stand the test of time. People often say respect is earned, but I'm here to tell you that respect is a choice, a decision to honor your partner for who they are, not just for what they do or how they behave. Trust, likewise, is built brick by brick. It doesn't come automatically, but it can be shattered in an instant if not nurtured and protected. And when you've got respect and trust at the core of your relationship, everything else falls into place. Let's start with respect. Respect is more than just saying please and thank you, although those things matter. Respect is the way you treat your partner in all situations, the way you speak to them, the way you listen, the way you value their opinions. It's about acknowledging their worth as a person. It's about treating them like an equal, no matter how different your viewpoints or life experiences may be. Rather, the primary has to be the same for the relationship. Whether it's about gender creation, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, relations may be, it's about honoring their feelings, their boundaries, and their individuality. When you respect your partner, you're showing them that they are more than just a companion. They are a person worthy of your time, your energy, and your love. It means not putting them down, not belittling them, not making them feel small or insignificant. In a healthy relationship, both partners should feel empowered, supported, and encouraged to be their true selves. When respect is present, you give each other space to grow, make mistakes, and evolve into the people you're meant to be. You don't control or manipulate each other, you uplift and inspire each other. Respect is also about being honest. It's about being real, even when the truth is hard to say. It's about making sure your actions align with your words. And let me tell you something. If you say one thing but do another, if you promise respect but show disrespect, your partner will notice. That's where the cracks start to form. If you want respect, you've got to give it. Every day, in every conversation, in every action. And if you ever slip up, own it. Apologize, acknowledge the hurt, and work to rebuild that respect. It's worth it. Now, trust. Trust is the other side of this equation. Without trust, the foundation is weak, and every little problem, every misunderstanding, every disagreement becomes a potential landmine. Trust is what allows you to be vulnerable with your partner. It's the belief that they will have your back, that they'll keep their promises, and that you can rely on them not just in the good times, but in the tough ones too. Trust is earned over time, and it's fragile. Once it's broken, it's hard to rebuild, but not impossible if both partners are committed to doing the work. Think about it. When you trust someone, you don't need to question their motives. You don't need to constantly check their phone, ask where they're going, or wonder who they're talking to. Trust creates an environment of peace, where both partners can feel safe to express themselves fully, knowing they won't be judged or betrayed. It's knowing that your partner is looking out for your best interests, even when you're not around. But trust doesn't just happen overnight. It's the result of consistent actions over time. It's in the little things, like keeping your word, being reliable, and showing up when you say you will. It's about creating a safe space where both of you feel secure and supported. When trust is there, it's like a shield protecting your relationship from external pressures. And when trust is broken, it feels like everything falls apart. But remember, you can rebuild it. It requires patience, honesty, and a commitment to being transparent with each other. The thing about respect and trust is that they are interdependent. One doesn't thrive without the other. You can't have true respect without trust, and you can't build trust without respect. They go hand in hand. If you truly respect your partner, you'll honor their boundaries and needs, and you won't do anything to compromise their trust in you. If you truly trust your partner, you'll know that they will never take you for granted, and they will always work to maintain that respect. So let's be real for a moment. If you want a relationship that stands the test of time, you need to invest in respect and trust. You've got to actively work on it every single day. It's not something that just happens. It's a conscious choice, a daily commitment. Respect is about treating each other with dignity and kindness, while trust is about being reliable, transparent, and dependable. Together, these two qualities form the foundation of a healthy, lasting relationship. Without respect and trust, you're just two people living in the same space. With respect and trust, you become a team, a partnership that can weather anything life throws your way. So nurture these qualities, protect them, and let them be the foundation that holds your relationship strong. When respect and trust are your guiding principles, you'll build something that lasts, something worth fighting for. Give them respect and trust. You'll build something that lasts, something worth fighting for. Growth is something that's often underestimated in relationships. Too many people think that once you've found your partner, once you've said, "I do," or committed to one another, that's it. Everything should stay the same. But here's the truth. You're not the same person you were a year ago, and neither is your partner. You both will change, evolve, and grow. And if you don't grow together, you'll grow apart. The key is to recognize that growth isn't just an individual pursuit. It's something you must nurture together as a couple. End of the preface. First off, let me say that growth is not about trying to change each other into something you're not. Growth isn't about molding your partner into your ideal version of who they should be. No. Growth is about supporting each other as you become the best versions of yourselves, individually and as a pair. It's about making the conscious decision to keep evolving, to keep reaching for new goals, to keep challenging each other to be better. It's about understanding that both of you will face new challenges, take on new opportunities, and encounter new dreams. As life presents different stages, you need to be there to encourage each other to step into those new roles and to embrace the changes that come along the way. You can't keep expecting your relationship to thrive if you're both standing still. That's how relationships stagnate. People get comfortable, they stop growing, and that's when things start to feel disconnected. If you're not actively pursuing personal growth, learning new things, trying new experiences, expanding your horizons, then you're not giving your relationship the fuel it needs to thrive. Relationships need progress, movement, and energy to stay vibrant. So take an active role in your growth. Learn new skills, set new goals, and don't forget to invite your partner along on the journey. But here's the key. It's not just about growing as individuals. It's about growing together. As you each grow in your own ways, you need to make sure you're also growing closer as a couple. This doesn't mean abandoning your own dreams or interests, but rather finding ways to support each other's goals while also creating shared goals. It's about finding new ways to bond, to connect, and to align your future aspirations. It's about finding new ways to bond, to connect, and to align your future aspirations. As you evolve, so should your relationship. You're not the same people you were when you first met, and your connection should reflect that growth. It's important to continue to learn about each other's evolving desires, interests, and life goals. Stay curious about each other, even when you've been together for years. Ask questions, explore new things, and don't take each other for granted. Stay fascinated by one another, and remember that growth means adapting together. Part of growing together is learning how to handle challenges in a healthy way. Life will throw curveballs at you. Personal challenges, work struggles, health issues, or financial stress. These obstacles will test you, and they'll test your relationship. But the beautiful thing is that you can grow stronger from adversity. When you face tough times together, you have the opportunity to build resilience, patience, and deeper understanding. This is the growth that doesn't happen in the comfortable moments. It happens in the trenches. It happens when you hold each other up, when you face hardships as a team, and when you come out stronger on the other side. Another important part of growth in a relationship is the willingness to give each other space. That's right, growing doesn't always mean doing everything together. Sometimes growth means giving each other room to explore your own interests, dreams, and even challenges. A healthy relationship isn't about being glued to each other 24/7. It's about supporting each other's individuality. You are two people who are learning, growing, and evolving independently. And that's something that should be celebrated, not feared. When you give your partner space to grow, you're giving them the opportunity to come back to you even stronger and more fulfilled. And when you both have that space, you allow for more authentic connection when you're together. When you Growth also means learning to navigate changes. Life has a way of throwing unexpected changes your way, sometimes big, sometimes small. Maybe one of you gets a new job. Maybe you start a family. Maybe one of you goes through a personal transformation. Change is inevitable, but it doesn't have to tear you apart. When you grow together, you learn how to embrace change rather than resist it. You figure out how to adapt, how to support each other through transitions, and how to keep your connection strong even when the world around you shifts. So here's the bottom line. Growth is essential to keeping your relationship strong. It's about growing individually, yes, but it's also about growing together as a couple. Embrace the changes, the challenges, the successes, and the failures. Keep evolving, keep supporting each other, and keep striving for a deeper connection. When you're committed to growing together, your relationship will never feel stagnant. Your relationship will never feel stagnant. It will always be dynamic, always be moving forward, and always be something worth investing in. Because the truth is, a relationship that grows together is a relationship that lasts. When it comes to relationships, adversity is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Life will challenge you. There's no getting around that. You'll face difficulties, obstacles, and hardships that can shake you to your core. Whether it's external pressures from the world around you, personal struggles, or even issues within the relationship itself, adversity will come knocking. But here's the thing. It's not the adversity that defines you. It's how you face it together. How you tackle challenges as a unit will ultimately determine whether your relationship strengthens or falters. End quote. First, let me tell you something that's crucial. Adversity, when handled properly, has the power to make your relationship stronger. It's easy to be in love when everything is smooth sailing. But when the storm hits, that's when your true bond is tested. And if you've built a solid foundation of trust, respect, and commitment, adversity doesn't tear you apart, it brings you closer together. You see, a relationship is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But that muscle has to go through resistance to grow. And that resistance is adversity. It's in the hard moments, the trying moments, that you prove how strong your connection really is. The hard times still to come, the difficulties still to come, the heartache still to come. Now, facing adversity together requires a few essential things. First, you've got to have each other's backs. It's not enough to just be physically present. You've got to show up mentally and emotionally. When one of you is struggling, the other must step up, not just as a partner, but as a supporter. There's no room for judgment or blaming each other for the tough times. When things are hard, you need to stand side by side, not across from each other pointing fingers. In those difficult moments, your partner is not the enemy. Life is. You're a team, and a team sticks together, especially in the hardest of times. That means you have to be patient. Patience is key when facing adversity. Not every challenge can be solved immediately. Some problems take time to resolve, and that means sometimes you need to give each other space to process, heal, and work through things at your own pace. There's no rush to fix the situation. What matters is that you're there for each other, giving each other the support and time needed to grow through it. Patience allows you to approach the problem calmly and with clarity, rather than rushing into decisions or allowing emotions to cloud your judgment. It's in these moments that you must lean on your trust and know that, even if things aren't perfect right now, they will get better with time. Closed. Patience. Another key component to overcoming adversity together is communication. You cannot face challenges if you're not talking to each other. That's where many relationships fall short. When things get tough, people tend to shut down or retreat inwardly. But you can't do that. You have to keep the lines of communication open, even if the conversations are difficult or uncomfortable. Share your feelings, your frustrations, and your hopes. Share your feelings, your frustrations, and your hopes. Let your partner know what you need from them, and more importantly, listen to what they need from you. This is a time to be vulnerable, to be honest, and to create a space where both of you feel heard and understood. This is the time for you to say to your partner things that may be hard to say outright, and for them to listen, and for you to understand. But communication alone isn't enough. You've got to have the right attitude when facing challenges. It's not about playing the victim or throwing your hands up in defeat. It's about adopting a mindset of resilience. Instead of seeing the obstacle as a roadblock, view it as an opportunity to grow together. Every challenge is a chance to strengthen your relationship, to reinforce your commitment to each other. Every challenge is a chance to strengthen your relationship, to reinforce your commitment to each other. Together, you'll learn new ways to adapt and support one another. You'll get through the storm and come out the other side even more united. The most important thing to remember during adversity is that you're not in it alone. I know there are times when it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. But remember, your partner is right there with you, carrying that weight alongside you. In those moments, it's crucial to remind each other that you're a team. You have each other's backs, no matter what life throws your way. And you represent one another when you tell one another the truth. I wish you and your family the very best, no matter what life throws your way. And finally, when adversity hits, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving through the challenge. When you face adversity with strength, patience, communication, and resilience, you come out stronger, not just as individuals, but as a couple. You'll learn new things about each other, and you'll discover just how deep your bond truly goes. The challenges won't break you, they'll make you. Remember this, life will test your relationship. That's a given. But how you respond to that test will determine the future of your connection. Stick together, stay patient, communicate openly, and most importantly, remember that adversity is temporary, but the strength you build in overcoming it can last a lifetime. Face it together, and let it be the thing that propels your relationship to greater heights.